Hi guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello Ngobile. You're the first one here, Han. Thank you so much for joining. Hi Bushle. Thank you for joining. Oh, I'm your inspiration. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Hi Bruce. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Hi guys. Hi Hope. Thank you for joining, my love. Nice to see you. Thank you. These are all the regulars that are always in the live. I love to see it. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I really am enjoying these lives. Hey, Figile. Hi, Muhao. Muhao Blossom. Muhao, we have the same Instagram name. I'm Let's Bar Blossom. You're Muhao Blossom. Hi, Yolande. Yes, hi everyone, guys. Love that we are building our community here of teachers, and I'm so excited for our live today. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for giving this video, or rather this live, a big thumbs up. Hi Lizwe, Sibahle ugcwele kuma YouTube ads. Love that for me, cha. Boitumelo, hi my darling. Mwah. Hi Pindu. Hi my pelo. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thank you for joining, my loves. Let me know in the comment section if you are a teacher like we did it the last time. Heart sign if you are a teacher. Thumbs up if you're on your way to becoming a teacher. If you're studying, give us a thumbs up. If you are a teacher, send a heart so I know how many teachers are in the building. Hi Koketso, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi Andile, mwah. Welcome to the live. Thank you once again for joining, my loves. I'm gonna get straight into it because we have a lot to talk about, okay? And this one is super, super important. I feel like it's a great way to sum up the year and close up the year, because as teachers, I think, as aspiring teachers and teachers, it's important to reflect, it's important to be honest with ourselves, and it's important to realize when we are feeling overwhelmed, okay? So I decided, let's have this live in partnership with Morland University. Thank you again to my Morland family, to have a discussion about what are the signs that we need to be looking out for when it's time to kind of study further as teachers. I think once we get our degrees or once we get our teaching certificates, we think, okay, I'm a teacher now. I'm done. I don't need to be studying further. And we become very complacent, and we become very comfortable. And I think that becomes something that really halters, or rather, really makes us feel very stagnant in our teaching. And you can really see it around you when you start to see those signs that, okay, maybe it's time for me to change my environment, or maybe it's time for me to get a new job, or maybe it's time for me to study further. So today we're going to talk about those, because I think those were super important for me when I was making that transition to from kindergarten to primary school. Okay, so before I start, like I said, I started off in China with a TEFL certificate. I moved here with a TEFL and a bachelor's degree, and I'd been teaching in kindergartens for like 4 to 5 years. And I remember when I was ready to make that change and ready to kind of leave kindergarten and training centers and kind of level myself up, I knew I had that desire, but honestly, I didn't know where to start. And some of the signs that I started to show were the following things, all right? So the first thing was that I was feeling so stagnant and feeling like, the teaching methods that I had, the ones that I'd learned at while doing the TEFL, were becoming really repetitive and boring. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like I'm teaching the same way, the same things over and over again. I'm bored, the kids are bored. Maybe the kids weren't as bored because obviously I'm getting new kids every year. But I was feeling bored. I was feeling like, okay, this is becoming boring, And I think sometimes as teachers, we feel like, okay, right, routine is good. Having that clear lesson plan set out, curriculum is good, guys, don't get me wrong. Having plans and lesson plans in place is good. But teaching methods and strategies and different approaches can be, remix the bit. You can definitely make your approaches new so that it's exciting for you and challenging. And so you feel like you are showing some growth in your career. And, when you're coming up with new teaching strategies and ideas, you are also standing out in your school. So, let's not get complacent. And so that is one of the things that I saw was a sign when I was like, okay, I'm feeling bored. I'm not feeling like I'm achieving anything. I'm feeling like I'm doing the same thing every single day. Another sign that, I was kind of starting to show, or rather in my life and my schoolwork or my job, that was starting to kind of make me think, is this the right place? Do I need to be doing something else? Was that I felt like my classroom management skills were not up to par. I felt like I couldn't get all the kids, kind of on the same page when it comes to student behavior. I couldn't handle all the kids when it came to student engagement. And so when it came to that, I at first thought, it was me, I'm not doing enough. But then I realized that when you are using the same strategies over and over again and not evolving your classroom management skills and not using different approaches, the kids are gonna get comfortable with you. And so you can't constantly, as a teacher, and this is one of the careers I feel where you can't be complacent. You constantly have to be evolving. You constantly have to be up to date with different strategies, especially because kids are, growing up in different times. And so as we are evolving and as the generations are growing up, they have different needs and different things that keep them engaged. And so it's so important for us to be aware of those things. And so that was super important. Well, not super important, but rather those are one of the signs for me that, okay, something's wrong here. I need to, re-strategize and see how I move forward. Okay. Another thing that I picked up, or another sign that I picked up in my life, was that I was very unfamiliar with the new up-to-date technologies when it came to teaching. I was very hesitant to use technology in the classroom because I wasn't sure how to use technology. And so number one, I remember the first time I interacted with, obviously we had a smart board. You guys have seen it on my vlogs. We have smart boards, but there are multiple tools, like interactive tools and software that you can use in your class outside of the class rewards like Class Dojo. But using the traditional flashcards and little hammers for the kids to touch, rather hit with, that stuff is great. Kids love it, but when you do it every single lesson, it becomes kind of boring. So having an interactive PPT or interactive touch screen board where the kids can have different ways to engage with the key vocabulary, that I felt was such a game changer for me. So when I didn't know all those things, I always just felt like I'm not comfortable and not confident with technology in the classroom. How can I make sure that everyone is engaged and are excited about the technology in the classroom when I don't know much about it? So when you are feeling like, okay, you're hesitant, you're not sure about technology, you see people say technology this in education, but how to approach it, maybe you're not sure about it, this is probably a sign that you need to go study further. And there are so many courses like Morland that are having a module for technology in the classroom, and they are sharing tools and strategies how you can make your classroom more engaging and student-centered using technology. So that's something that I picked up on as well. Okay, another sign that maybe it's time to study further is when you're feeling like you are not able to help your diverse students. Okay, so I remember when I walked into one of the classrooms in the kindergarten and they told me that I've got a non-verbal student, I've got a dyslexic student, I've got this student, a behavioral student, I've got this. Like, I had a class of 30 and then like maybe 15 special needs kids and 15 normal kids. And I put normal because really every child is special, every child has different needs. But I had a lot of students that required me to prepare extra materials, that required me to do extra things, and I just didn't have the skills. I didn't have the skills, the knowledge, the strategies, and so that made me feel very overwhelmed. And so teaching a class like that, you really feel out of your comfort zone because you've got so many needs, so many student needs, and you're unable to have all your kids on the same page. So that was a big red flag for me when I realized that my TEFL didn't prepare me to handle different student needs and different learning abilities. And so that could be a sign for you that maybe, you know, you need to go back to the table, back to the studies, to find ways to better approach your diverse student needs in your classroom. Okay, the next one I want to chat about is actually feeling like you are outdated when it comes to curriculum development. This is an important one because, especially if you are, you know, abroad, curriculums are so different, but fundamentally, especially when it comes to ESL and English, they are constantly, you know, updates, things that are happening, new strategies, new technology, new methods of teaching. And so I feel like things like a TEFL or a TESOL certificate don't really prepare you for the real life situations that we are experiencing. And so when we are sitting in curriculum meetings where people are talking about different strategies and different curriculums and different standards, where you're feeling like, okay, I don't know what's happening here, don't like sit there and be comfortable with that, because you know that is really going to make you feel like you're out of touch with what's happening in the education space. And as a teacher, you constantly have to be professionally developing and being aware of what strategies are, being innovated, and what ways you can better help your students, what ways you can develop your curriculum to make sure that it is catering to all the students' needs, you know. And, you know, also when we're talking about curriculum frameworks and subject content, all those things don't stay the same, you know, they are constantly evolving. So I feel like when you are figuring out what field you want to be focusing on, invest in that, you know, in gaining knowledge about that field, invest in being up to date with different journal articles, different workshops or different standards, depending on the country that you want to live in or work in, so that you are aware and you are feeling more capable and confident in subject or curriculum development meetings, you know. All right, so the next one I want to chat about is actually one that I experienced actually a lot in that last year in the kindergarten, is burnout. You know, teacher burnout is a thing. If you're feeling like you're exhausted all the time, you're not motivated to teach anymore, you're disconnected, you're feeling overwhelmed in the classroom and with your teaching responsibilities, I feel like this is a clear sign that, you know, you either need to, number one, change your environment, or two, invest in, oh my gosh, I've never heard so many sirens in China, sorry. That's insane. It could be in our building. But rather, you know, that it's time to continue on and, you know, find another position, or you need to really develop yourself professionally, study further. Because when you do that, when you study further, you actually are getting more strategies to deal with your teaching, to deal with self-care, to deal with finding a better work-life balance, as well as also making sure that you are learning strategies for time management. Because when you are working in a space where a lot is required from you and you aren't able to manage that, and when you don't have the skill set to handle different classroom environments, you absolutely are going to feel overwhelmed. You're absolutely going to hate your job. You're absolutely going to feel like you're going there just to collect a salary and get out of there. That is not what we want. We really want to get there and be excited about teaching, be excited about trying that new strategy, be excited about trying that new technological tool. And so I think it will really studying further will really ignite an excitement inside of you, because you're like, oh my gosh, I want to try this new strategy, or I want to try this new method, or I want to try this new tool, or I want to give these worksheets out to see how the kids handle them and things like that, you know. So I feel like, you know, when you're experiencing burnout, and a lot of us call it fatigue, those fatigue and burnout, I feel like, are two different things. Fatigue is absolutely feeling tired. It's the end of the year, we all feel it. But then burnout is like when you just feel like disconnected, you're just like walking in there and walking out. You're not fully embracing the environment. You're not taking time to connect with your students, not taking time to connect with your colleagues. That is a clear sign that, okay, you know what? It's time to level up. It's time to study further. It's time to learn more skills so that I'm walking in feeling more capable and excited about my job. All right. So another one that I want to chat about is actually connected to what I said about your colleagues. When you are feeling like you're disconnected from the professional development or professional community, when you're feeling like you're not connected to other teachers, you're not connected to other educators around the world, this is a clear sign that, okay, you need to actually build those bridges and study by studying further. People don't realize how studying further can also help you connect with other teachers around the world. You guys are sharing best practice. You guys are sharing strategies. You guys are sharing advice. You guys are venting. There's a community in that. And so I loved when I was studying with Morland that we had little WeChat groups where we could vent about our practicals, we could vent about how a strategy didn't work, and people could suggest. When you have a community, you feel like you're not alone. And when you're venting, you guys feel like, okay, we can do this. We're going to get to the other side, you know? And so I think teaching is a collaborative profession. We need to actually realize that as teachers, that what I'm doing, what we are doing in this comment section is collaboration. Teaching shouldn't be like this, where you're like in your own lane, own pace. No, you need to be communicating with other people, connecting with different teachers around the world, so that you are knowing what's the up-to-date information, what are the up-to-date skill set that I need to better get that job that I want, what are the strategies that people are using in the classroom, and also workshops. One of the things that I loved when I was studying at Morland was that they were sharing with us different resources that we could use, right, to read and do the key readings. And then within that resource, you would find that they would actually be sharing different workshops for professional development, different conferences, virtual conferences, where people are discussing classroom management strategies, are discussing social emotional learning, PBLs, STEM projects, all of that, like all those things that I felt like, you know, I could not get here in China, I could get virtually. And so that was really a game changer for me. So if you're feeling like you're not connected to the professional community as a whole, I think studying and building that community through studying further will really help you as a teacher to find a community of educators like you who are ready to connect, to learn from each other, to share best practice, to be involved fully and not just walk in, get that salary and walk back out. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then the last one I want to chat about is one that I feel like is very obvious, that all of us are, when we're wanting to change careers, we are very much aware that one of the things that we want to do is advance our careers. You know, when you're feeling like I need to advance myself, I need to get a promotion, I need to get you know, a leadership role, this is a clear sign that you want to progress in your career. But I think, you know, sometimes we forget that to get that role, to get that leadership role, you need to study further. You need to equip yourself with the skill sets so that you can stand out when it comes to the application process. So I really encourage you to think about all these things that I've mentioned. I'm going to just summarize them again, and then I'm going to go into the comment section. So you're feeling stagnant. Okay, so these are the signs. If you're just joining the lab, these are the signs that you might need to study further. You're feeling stagnant in your teaching methods. You are struggling with classroom management. You are unfamiliar with new educational technologies. Your students have very diverse needs. Okay, you're feeling disconnected from your professional community. Your curriculum knowledge is very outdated. You're experiencing teacher or educator burnout. And the last one, you want to advance your career. So these are the signs that I put together that I feel like I experienced as well when I was transitioning over to primary school. But I knew that bridge to get to that primary school that I wanted, or the international school that I needed, was to study further. So in that, I actually want to chat about the modules themselves, the ones that I took when I studied with Morland. So if you guys don't know already, I did the Teach Now preparation certificate, which was 9 months long. And I remember going into it, I was like, okay, I know that I'm going to walk away here as a 21st century teacher, and I'm going to walk away with all the skill sets that I need to approach a class with different student needs, with different curriculum, from like international curriculums like the US and other UK curriculums, as well as the South African content. Like, I could work in any school that had that different curriculum. I could also walk into any international school with my qualification. So I knew that I had enrolling there, I knew that I would walk away with a lot, but I didn't until I got into the actual course and started sitting down preparing myself for this video. I didn't realize how much I would actually walk away with. And I remember when I was sitting in my interview with my current job now with my boss, and I remember thinking to myself, whoa, I took away so many skills and so much knowledge that I'm actually discussing in this interview right now, that I feel like the Swahle before Morland was not going to be able to hold her own in that interview. You know what I mean? Like, I know one of the questions that the guy asked me was, or not my guy, so not the guy, rather my principal at the time, he asked me, so do you have any experience teaching diverse classrooms rather? Because in our school we've got low level, middle level, and low ability, middle level, and high ability students. Different proficiencies, different grammar, different writing skills, different reading skills. Like, how would you approach that? And so when I answered the question, full marks, because I had studied this through Morland. I knew the different strategies that I would use. I knew that I had to differentiate through different outcomes for the kids, preparing different materials, understanding that they all have different needs, so I would have to be differentiate the assessments, etc., etc. So, but I was thinking to myself at the time, like, whoa, the Swahle before Morland, with just a TEFL, I wasn't going to be able to answer that question, but I knew what he was looking for because I had studied with the school that understood what it takes to be a 21st century teacher. So I want to chat a bit about the modules, just so you guys understand why I say that. So the modules were the culture of schooling. In this module, we learned about the different the different environments that teachers need to create in the classroom, different strategies, routines, and things like that are really important for the classroom culture, for the school, for the environments, so that the children are being set up for success. You know what I mean? The learner and learning in a digital age. This module really, really opened my eyes to reinventing and kind of unlearning what the traditional classroom looks like, you know what I mean? And learning that a modern 21st century class is completely different from the way I was growing up. When I was growing up, what school looked like for me. And I remember walking away feeling like I need to stop boxing my students and understanding that I need to create spaces for every child to succeed in different ways, because they all have different strengths and they all have different needs. And so it's important to not limit and box them in terms of when it comes to assessments. I need to create options for the kids and things like that. I need to make sure that I have different outcomes for the kids because I understand that they all have different ways to express themselves. And then the next module that we learned about was managing the learning environment. So here we went into great depth about classroom management. I remember we also had to create our own classroom management tool, in addition to all the classroom management tools that we have already, but the ones that we had created ourselves. I learned so much from my classmates. I remember one of my classmates actually sharing a skill, module 6, one of my classmates sharing a really, really great tool for classroom management. It's actually a technological, but rather a software that you can put on the smart board where it's like a sound detector, né? So instead of you listening in to the kids and saying, okay guys, you're getting too loud, okay guys, you're getting too what, the screen has little bouncy balls, and this person shared this with us. And then basically when the kids are getting too loud, the balls start to like go crazy. So it's not really, it's not like making any sound, but it's a visible representation of how the noise level is getting out of hand. And so obviously you say to the kids like, I want the balls to be moving at this level when you're doing this activity. So you set that expectation. And so when it doesn't do what you want, you're able to say, guys, the board, you're not shouting at individual students, you're not distracted, and you're not stopping what you're doing, but rather you're like drawing their attention to what's happening. And so it's so interesting because I remember when he was sharing with us that the kids were so invested in making sure that the level of those balls stay on that level that they all agreed on. It's a fun way. It's like, they think it's hilarious, but it's a way that you're also controlling your emotions, and you're not feeling overwhelmed, but the technology is doing the classroom management for you. And I thought that was really, really cool. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. Another module was student assessments. Student assessments, we learned about formative and summative assessments. We learned about different ways we can assess. It was fantastic. Another one is planning and preparation for learning. Here, there was a lot of emphasis on curriculum development, lesson plans, how to make sure that your lesson plans link to standards. Because most of the times, I feel like, especially when we're here in China, the kids, rather the schools, have a very open mind about the curriculum. They kind of leave it to the teacher. There isn't like a rigid plan. And so when you are someone who has to then make a curriculum from scratch, what are you basing that off of? What are the standards that you are creating this curriculum from? And so I remember we were learning about different standards that are existing around the world, and how we can ensure that our lesson plans match that standard so that it's measurable, and you're not just teaching something every day, but you don't know how to measure it, and assess how the kids are doing according to that standard, so that learning standard is super important. Obviously, we did our practicals as well, our clinicals, as well as teaching practice and proficiency. So those modules, these 7 modules were very, very, very important for me. And I feel like I walked away feeling like, I am ready and able to walk into any classroom environment and teach and prepare myself, and, create a learning environment where the kids are getting their needs met. And I feel like the skills that I learned made sure that I'm also not putting myself second. Like, it's super important that you're learning strategies, but also you're knowing that like you need to maintain a work-life balance and a work education balance, if that's the case, because you understand that in order to show up as the best teacher, you need to also be, equipping yourself with the best skill set so that you are able to show up as the best teacher possible, So yeah, guys, let me get into these questions so that I'm not losing track. Miss V says, "Hey Sba, I'm learning a lot from you. Thank you so much for constantly sharing your experiences." You're welcome, my babe. I'm really blessed to be able to share with you guys, because I feel like when I started, I didn't have a space like this. And so for me, it's just making sure that I'm creating opportunities that were not there before, so that people are walking into spaces like China, spaces like Dubai, the UAE, the Middle East, wherever the case may be, the UK, the US, whatever classroom you're walking into, you feel like you're learning from a community of teachers. We're sharing best practice, and you are setting yourself up for success, Mbalim CB says, how do you make sure that you don't lose the plot when you use a textbook? I think it's super important to have a standard. Like, when I say standard, even though you have a textbook, but what are you trying to achieve? What is the standard that you are assessing the kids from? So if you're saying, okay, I want my kids to be able to write a sentence, a basic sentence with subject, verb, object, and be able to have an adjective, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, like specific standards, so that when you are using the textbook, you're not just going from chapter to chapter. You might not need to use all the chapters in the textbook, because your standard doesn't require it. I think it's important that we have, I want to say higher objectives, standards that okay, this is what I want them to learn. What are the different lesson plans or lessons that I need to ensure that they do that? Because sometimes textbooks don't give us like a clear direction, And so I think that standard, or that objective, that high top of mind objective, is super important, Lizwi says, do they consider the Morland certificate in South Africa? Yes, they do. It is recognized worldwide. So if you decide to do the Teach Now preparation certificate or the masters, it is recognized in South Africa. Mansura says, hello, miss. I have inquiry about Morland University. I want to enroll for the Teach Now program, but my GPA is in my bachelor's is 2.45. Will I get enrolled? I would suggest that you still apply. Let them be the ones to tell you no. Don't set yourself up for a no already. I always say this, guys, when you're applying for anything, even if you meet 4 requirements out of the 5, apply. Do not scratch yourself out because you don't meet all the requirements. I feel like a school like Morland, you can definitely email them, talk to them. They could create, different things to ensure that you they need maybe some more documents, some other things. So don't set yourself up for a no already. I think just apply. If they say no, they say no, but you applied. But right now, you saying no in your head based off the requirements, especially if you are qualifying for 4 out of the 5, do it. Don't stop yourself, okay? Jenny says, hello, Swahle, love from a sis in Nigeria. Hey, honey. Wow, I love it. Thank you so much for dropping into the comments and saying hello. Kimo says, my motivator, love you loads, my doll. Bruce says, you really touched on many key points, and I remember working in a training center and feeling so stuck, 100%. Now I'm enrolled at Morland. You played a huge part. Amazing, Bruce. Dude, those training centers can really make you feel stuck because they have zero room for evolving and growth, because we're all teachers, we're all in the same position. It's very much a business, and it's not I feel like when I was in the training center, no one is ready to hear questions about, or rather comments about, differentiation, separating the kids according to levels. They're just trying to make sure that the classes are full and they're learning some English, and then that's it. There's no consideration about the students' needs. And I remember feeling very stuck as well, feeling like I'm not making any changes. I can't measure the changes because we're not allowed to test the kids. This is supposed to be an extracurricular, but also they need to speak English. It was just really crazy expectations with little resources, Figula says, can't wait for my degree next year so I can enroll in Morland. Yes, honey, love it for you. Bruce says, module 6 ain't playing for any games. Honey, but you're almost there. Oratile says, thank you for the information. All your information of Morland is amazing. I'm currently enrolled, and I'm curious to know how the process was for you to apply for your American teaching license. Okay, so I didn't apply for a American teaching license because I'm not looking to get licensing at the moment. But I know that when you are doing it with Washington, D.C., I have a lot of colleagues who got their licensing with Washington, D.C., and was really easy for them to do so, and they highly recommend it. I want to do a master's and then do licensing. That's my plan, but we all have different plans, and generally I feel like when I got feedback from my colleagues that they were having any issues that they had with the licensing process, they were able to email Morland, and they are ready to help you whenever you have some questions, clarity. So don't be afraid to message them or email them. Shelby, I know, is one of the key role players when it comes to the licensing process. So if you have Shelby, or search Shelby on the Morland database, she's amazing. She will help you to go through that process, All right, the next one is from Mansoura again. I'm very sure getting into Morland. I'm working as an assistant teacher at American school in Coat. 100% love it. I learned about Morland from my teacher. She is currently doing her Teach Now program. I'm getting into Morland next year, June, hopefully, and I'm aiming to see myself as a teacher. I've done my bachelor's in English literature. Amazing. You're going to be amazing. I feel like you're going to be such a great resource for others to learn from you. And I encourage you also to share your story with your fellow cohort members. Help them, if they want want to learn more about how they can get a bachelor's in English literature, or how they can work in Kuwait, or whatever the case may be, like Kuwait rather. I think I'm saying it. Kuwait? Yeah, Kuwait. Yes, I'm interested to hear about Kuwait as well. So definitely embrace the journey, be open-minded, don't be afraid to exchange emails with your colleagues so that you will have build some sort of professional development community, a teachers community, because I feel like as expats we don't really have that, you know. We don't have like a teachers union. So I feel like when we study further, we make lifelong lifelong colleagues in the space. And so when you see your colleague moves to Dubai, or moves to the Middle East, or moves to Australia, you drop them an email and be like, how did you get there? Share information. And that's how we build those bridges. And so I love that you are really, you know, doing so much. So really, really excited for you, and all the best. I'm really great to have you and be a subscriber of yours. Thank you so much. Bridget says, hi, thanks for sharing this crucial information. Do I need any math background to do the course? I'm sorry, I just joined the live, so not so long, and I'm hoping you will cover the fees if possible. Okay, so honey, you do not need any math background. You do need to have, I'm guessing, yes, you're South African, you do need to have a bachelor's degree in any course. It doesn't have to be education. And for the fees for the Teach Now certificate, let me just pull it up so I'm not what's this? I'm not paraphrasing anything, but there is a payment plan. Payment plan. They do offer a master's degree. So the Teach Now certificate is available through a payment plan. I actually was also using a payment plan from here in China, and I was able to pay using PayPal. And so the tuition is currently 6,950 USD. The initial payment, or the initial registration fee, is 950 USD, and then you do 8 monthly payments of 750 USD. And then yeah, that's once you've done your payments, honey, your initial payment of 950, you can do the monthly ones. You can tell them which date you want to do it. And which was nice that for me, once I did like 3 consecutive ones, it started doing it like a stop order, so I didn't have to actually do the actual payment. This is with PayPal. But you also can pay with your credit card, MasterCard, WeChat, Alipay, all those platforms. Let me not miss any questions. Kulego asks, hi Sba, do they offer an MA in education or MEd? So they offer a master's in education, so an MEd, a master's in educational leadership, and lastly, a master's in globalization and education research. Okay, so to answer your question, it's a master's in education, MEd, not an MA. All right, awesome. Thanks, darling. You're welcome. Mwah. I didn't want this live to be so long. I wanted it to be informative, straight to the point, but I love being here with you guys. I really enjoy it. This is going to be the last one for the year. I'm actually going to be going on a break for the month of December, and then we will be back in January in terms of Morland content. But definitely check out their Instagram page, check out their website, check out all the videos that I've got a whole playlist for Morland University, and a bunch of lives that are so informative. And I think having such a great community of teachers on this live has been so amazing, and I really am so grateful for every single one of you. So don't be afraid also to message and email Morland. They are ready with their staff members who are ready to help, their enrollment team, their administration team, finance team, always ready to help you with any question that you have. But yeah, my loves, that was the video. I will definitely save it. I think I've saved all the lives, so if you feel like you've missed out on anything, you can definitely go rewatch them. And yeah, I really want to just thank you again for joining, for interacting, for asking questions, for liking all the content that I do, commenting and engaging. It's really just amazing to have such a community like you guys. I have a very important question to ask again. Heard about 9 months teach program, and if anyone wants to masters, add 3 months. So what's the payment from okay, so if you want to add on, so let's say you've done your 9 months, and now you want to add on the 3 months. So that payment is going to be 3 month payment, three month payments. I want to double check how much it would be. It's so funny because they don't have that specifically on there, but I do suggest that you actually drop them an email to ask that. But it is possible you can do that and you can pay because the difference between the masters and the teach now is actually quite big. I'm thinking it will probably be more than 1,000 USD for 3 months. But I don't want to give you an incorrect amount, but you would definitely need to pay let's see, I'm actually on their website. Administrate, let's go yeah, let me go to the masters and see that tuition fee, then we can do the math quickly. Okay, so the masters, yes. So the masters is 14,000 USD, ne? So the teach now is 6,000. The initial fee, yes. The teach now is 6,000. So if you do the math, ne, you would probably have to pay about 5,000 USD in a space of 3 months, and yeah, I think around about there. So 2,000 for 4 months. There we go. Thank you so much, Bruce. You're a star. So around there, because I'm thinking to add 3 months instead of doing the 1 year as a whole. Why don't you just do? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah. That'll also give you time to get your finances in order. Yeah, I agree. I like that idea. Yeah. Did I miss another question? You are so well versed. I assume you have a teaching junior degree. I have my bachelor's degree. Right now I'm working on my master's, and I have my Teach Now certificate at Morland. So yeah, thank you so much, my love. But I think also I'm sharing based off experience and just like going through the program. And so that for me, this course has really gave me the confidence to speak about the things that I speak about. But I feel like when I had my TEFL, I didn't have the ability and the language and the jargon to speak about it, So also thank you so much, guys, just for sharing. How's the exams going at the end of the modules? So there are no exams at Morland, honey. There are no exams. Your final assessment is rather the videos that you do. So when you doing the practicals or the clinicals, you have to use the videos that you record in your classroom and show that you have an understanding of different standards. And when you use those standards, you're approaching it with the fact that you are using the standards and you're making lesson plans, and then you're shooting a video to show that you have applied all the standards that you've learned, the teaching standards. So it's actually I feel like a really great assessment to assess whether you understand, number one, how to make a lesson plan based off the standards, how to implement it in your classroom and adjust, and also how to assess whether you were able to achieve that assessment or that standard in your classroom. I'm doing a TEFL through Udemy and Allison, some short courses for now. Okay, nice. Oh, I forgot to ask, will they charge us to send us certificates, or will it be free? Unfortunately, they will charge for the physical certificate, but the online one you will get for free. So the physical certificate, like to get sent to you, they will charge you. I think I paid like 50 USD, if I'm not mistaken. It was a year ago, like 2-3 years ago, babe. I'm so sorry. But yeah, but the digital one is free. You and inspirations by your videos help me a lot, especially classroom management style and reinforces. I wish you all the best, and all the best for the teachers here and inspiring teachers. Thank you so much, Ngobile. Thank you for sharing. Like I also want to echo that, guys. I really wish you all the best. All the new teachers, all the upcoming teachers, guys. Let's use these communities to upskill each other, inspire each other, learn from each other, so that we can be the best teachers we can be for those little babies, because they really, really need us to show up as our best selves and to meet their different needs, their learning abilities, because they spend most of the time with us. So I think it's super important that we curate that safe learning environment for them. Okay, guys, I need to go. I don't want this to be an hour. I love you guys so much. Mwah. I will see you guys soon with a vloggy vlog. But thank you. I will save this live. And I hope best for you. Such an amazing person to talk to. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Mansoura. And I love you guys so much. I will see you. Bye. I will save the live. Mwah, 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 mwah.